then we'll get it going. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatirai Vanachari Yamunatirai Vanachari Yamunatirai Vanachari. Krishna is the lover of Radha. He displays many amorous pastimes in the groves of Vrindavan. He is the lover of the cowherd maidens of Raj, the holder of the great hill named Govardhan, the beloved son of Mother Yashoda, the delighter of the inhabitants of Raj, and he wanders in the forests along the banks of the river Yamuna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so before I read, I just want to say that we can only understand the Lord's pastimes through the mercy of the devotees, of his devotees, and by discussing his glories and being instructed on how to see. And association is really the origin of realizations, as the Paramatma grants us a bunch of insights while being with the Vaishnavas who open our hearts and eyes and ears to really be able to grasp something. And so with that understanding, I want to ask for the blessings of the gathered devotees before we even dive into the verses. And today we are starting the new chapter, chapter 48 of Canto 10, and we're going to be going over the verses 1 through 4. And so with that, I'm going to share the screen for these verses. Okay, some of the Sanskrit is a little harder for me, so I may recite or I may read, but I do find it important, so I'll try to recite each one of them. So this is the verse first. Shri Shuka Uvacha Atha Vijnana Bhagavan Sarvatma Sarvadarshanaha Sairandriya Kamataptaya Priyam Ichan Griham Yayo. Translation by the exalted disciples and well-wishers and followers of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Shukadev Goswami said, next, after assimilating Uddhava's report, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the omniscient soul of all that be, desired to satisfy the serving girl Trivakra, who was troubled by lust. Thus he went to her house. Purport. This text gives an interesting insight into the Lord's pastimes. The first line says, Atha Vijnana Bhagavan, thus the Lord understanding Uddhava's report. The second line states that Lord Krishna is the soul of everything, Sarvatma, and the seer of everything, Sarvadarshana. In other words, although he certainly does not depend on spoken reports from messengers, he plays the part of a human being and listens to news from a messenger, not out of need as we would do, but in the bliss of his spiritual pastimes, exchanging love with his pure devotee. The word Sarva Darshana also indicates that the Lord perfectly understood the feelings of the residents of Braj and was perfectly reciprocating with them within their hearts. Now, in his external pastimes, he desired to bless Srimati Trivakra, who was about to be freed from disease of material lust. Verse 2. Maharo paskarer adyam kamopaya payo pabrimritam muktadama pataka bir vitana sayanasana dupa surabhir dipa dipe shragandhir apimanditam. Translation. Trivakra's home was opulently appointed, with expensive furnishings and replete with sensual accoutrements, sorry, I really don't know these words, meant to inspire sexual desire. There were banners, rows of strung pearls, canopies, fine beds and sitting places, and also fragrant incense, oil lamps, flower garlands, and aromatic sandalwood paste. Purport. According to Sridhar Swami, the sensual accoutrements in Trivakra's house, including explicit sexual pictures. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti adds that her paraphernalia included herbal aphrodisiacs. It is not hard to guess Trivakra's intention, yet Lord Krishna went there to save her from material existence. In verse 3. Griham tan ayantam aiveksha sa sanach, sadhyak samutaya hi jata sambrama, yathopasangamya sa kipir achutam, sap jayatam asha sad asana dibihi. When Trivakra saw him arriving at her house, Srimati Trivakra, she at once rose from her seat in a flurry. Coming forward graciously with her girlfriends, she respectfully greeted the Lord Achyuta by offering him an excellent seat and other articles of worship. And last verse for today. So we're going to go over synonyms as well. Tato dava sajutaya bi pujito, nyasidat urvyam abhimshya chasanam, Krishna pitunam shayanam mahatanam vivesha loka charitani anuvritaha. Synonyms. Tata, also. Uddavaha, Uddhava. Sadhutaya, as a saintly person. Abhipujitaha, worshipped. Nyasidat, sat. Urvyam, on the ground. Abrimshya, touching. Cha, and. Asanam, the seat. Krishnaha, the Lord Krishna. Api, and. Turnam, without delay. Shayanam, a bed. Mahatanam, very rich. Vivesha, lay upon. Loka, of human society. Acharitani, the modes of behavior. Anuvritaha, imitating. Translation. Uddhava also received a seat of honor, since he was a saintly person, but he simply touched it and sat on the floor. Then Lord Krishna, imitating the manners of human society, quickly made himself comfortable on an opulent bed. Imitating is a very important word here. Purport. According to the Acharyas, Uddhava felt reverence for his lord and thus declined to sit on an opulent seat in his presence, Rather, he touched the seat with his hand and sat on the floor. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti adds that Lord Krishna made himself comfortable in a bed located in the inner chambers of Srimati Trivakra's home. Okay. They're very beautiful verses. So I want to give a little overview because we are entering into a new chapter, and the previous chapter is a very beautiful prelude into it. Chapter 47 was the Song of the Bee, the Brahmara Gita, where Uddhava is sent from Vrindavan to console the gopis in their separation from Krishna and spend several months with them, directly observing their deep mood and love they carry towards the Lord. And in that chapter, there is a revelation of the pastime between Srimati Radharani and the bee, Srimati Radharani speaking to a bee, although her name is not mentioned directly. But it does bring this incredible evidence of madness that, the highest devotee of the Lord has towards Krishna. And the gopis predicted everything that would happen to them upon Krishna's departure, as they themselves knew the ways of their love and how that makes them mad. And essentially Uddhava's witnessing in Vrindavan of this separation is a fulfilled prophecy, that actually they were true in foreshadowing their own loving lamentation. Because sometimes, there is something that is about to happen that we may not want to happen. And there is even a sense of like exaggeration that we may bring of like, no, this cannot happen because I will like, fall on the ground and whatever will happen. But actually, like when the gopis said, like, we are really going to wither away, like truly they were just almost at the end of their lives in separation from Krishna. And so the gopis glorify Krishna's names and call them out and wonder, with Uddhava as a witness, how is Krishna doing in Mathura? And how he, brings pleasure to anyone he meets and whether he remembers them at all. And so after those few months of really witnessing the gopis, so deeply absorbed in their love towards the Lord and in that separation and consoled by being able to speak with him, about him, I guess feeling with him too, because they're feeling his presence through speaking about him. But he witnesses all these months of that and really, really becomes transformed, seeing them as the highest, really, devotees and lovers of God. And so then at the end of his visit, Uddhava visits Nanda Maharaj in his capital on top of Nanda Gaon. And it's an important detail because that place, that hill, is a direct manifestation of Lord Shiva's prayer to take a form as a mountain in Vrindavan to witness the Lord's pastimes and to be able to be trampled by the gopis' lotus feet and by the devotees' lotus feet. So actually, that is also a reciprocation with Lord Shiva's deep longing to be that servant and servant of a servant of Krishna's devotees. And so the footprints of Uddhava are left on the hill. And he carries so much devotion now. Heightened devotion because he was already a pure devotee. But he carries that deepening of his own devotion through his association with the gopis. And then he receives some gifts from Nanda Maharaj and then returns to Mathura. And so now we enter the chapter 48, which is an amazing title in itself. It's a very powerful affirmation because the chapter is called Krishna Pleases His Devotees. And so it's true that the Lord wants to please his devotees in a relationship with him. And he knows that this is the highest pleasure that he can give to all living entities. And so thus out of his own, beautiful love towards every single living entity. He orchestrates a relationship that we can have with him. And essentially, the way we develop a relationship is through service. And so Radha Maharaj said actually this that I really remember, which is, us receiving service from Krishna is a direct expression of his love, because through service we develop a relationship and love. And so to receive service means to receive an invitation to actually at some point be able to reciprocate with the Lord's love. And so first, Krishna wants to hear about the gopis in his village and Vrindavan and all the associates as soon as possible, allowing his friend Uddhava to reveal his own observations and his own revelations in a transformed heart to Krishna. And it's very sweet because, as it was already mentioned, like, it's not really that Krishna needs it. It's more of that he already facilitated Uddhava's journey to Vrindavan so that he can increase his own, reverence towards the gopis and experience, more love and see how deep devotion can go, and see that more intimate mood of the Lord, because he is more of, he is from Mathura, he is more of this like city dweller, whereas the gopis and the residents of Vrindavan, they are really seeing that more intimate mood of the Lord. And so he allows him to, report to him what he saw and what he experienced, also as a way of facilitating that relationship and that loving exchange. And so it's also mentioned that internally, Krishna is never separated from Vrindavan. He continuously reciprocates in his heart with the gopis longing towards him, with his friends longing towards him, with Mother Yashoda, with Nanda Maharaj. And still externally, he interacts with different personalities and has his own pastimes. And so Uddhava is now continuing to witness very intimate pastimes of his beloved Lord. And so in Mathura, he keeps his promise to return to Srimati Trivakra's house. I really am emphasizing that, especially that wording of Srimati Trivakra as this beautiful, respectful way of addressing her, because even though in the pastime she's presented as this lastful personality, she actually, is a part of eternal lila of the Lord, and this is essentially like the moment when she is completely purified, which already shows that she has done, so many incredible pious activities and served so well to be able to, attain the high position of meeting the Lord personally, or to speak of actually inviting him to her house and having this beautiful pastime with him. And so before the wrestling match, which I actually gave a class about too, with Kamsa's court fighters, Krishna accepted Trivakra's love in the form of her fragrant ointments, and he left her physical form transformed, because she was a hunchbacked lady who then became this extremely effulgent personality. And so he is again accompanied by Balaram and now by Uddhava, who just returned from Vrindavan. And also that shows that nature of, the intimate pastimes, but they're actually not hidden from the devotees of the Lord. Uddhava witnessed the telling of the pastimes of Krishna, but then even the most intimate pastimes really always have a witness, because they're happening still for both service and pleasure of actually everybody involved. And so that's actually very beautiful to us as well, because it always means there's an opportunity to deepen the love towards Krishna, even through witnessing his pastimes. And it again shows too that there is no material jealousy in the spiritual world, that actually all the servants of Srimati Radharani are or everybody is essentially serving to always bring them together. And so that's their pleasure to really see them together again. And that in turn, that sense of witnessing and transparency between Krishna and his friends becomes a testimony to his own purity and the purity of those pastimes. Because there is that tendency to hide what is not pure or what brings up a shame, and there is really just complete purity to those pastimes, and in fact they can only be witnessed through the vision of a completely cleansed heart, but also they are in themselves cleansing the heart too. And so that's also really interwoven into this pastime. So first I want to go back to the second verse. It speaks about the details of the room or the house of Trivakra. And Srimad Bhagavatam, is described as the cream of the Vedic, of cream of the Vedas, and it's churned and it's more solidified, and that means that the details that are offered to us have such an incredible significance, because it's already distilled, and so it means that these details hold a whole lot. And so even here we are truly offered a vision of Trivakra's home to understand her consciousness manifested in her space, and really seeing that manifestation or evidence of her affliction by lust, which is already a giant lesson to us to really scan and observe our hearts for the presence of lust. And I want to bring Bhagavad Gita into it because beautifully it speaks about lust and the importance of cleansing it from ourselves. And so this is chapter 3, verses 37 to 40, and I'm reading from Bhagavad Gita, the secret love song, and that's by Garuda Prabhu. So it's his own translation. The beloved Lord said, "It is selfish desire, it is anger arising from the quality of rajas, all-consuming and greatly calamitous. Know it to be the enemy in this world. As fire is covered by smoke and a mirror by dust, as an embryo is covered by a womb, so this world is covered by this. The knowledge of the knower is obscured by this constant enemy in the form of selfish desire. O Kanteya, a fire that indeed is impossible to satisfy. The senses, the mind, and the faculty of discernment are said to be the resting place of this enemy. Through these, it bewilders the embodied, obscuring knowledge." And so there's that reminder of how lust and attachment really bewilder us and actually cloud our vision to really see the Lord. And so again, in this pastime, it's clear that the Lord reciprocates with the deep intention of the living entity. He could see that under the external desire of Srimati Trivakra, there was, which is also, it's also very natural, as Krishna is all attractive, and there was that longing from her side, that deep intention to connect with him with love. That reminds me of this very strong statement: we see the world not as it is, but as we are. And so hence, here, for the sake of the pastime, Srimati Trivakra wanted to express her covered love in ways that she was familiar with, and most of us are familiar with as well. And Krishna is really beyond that. He is beyond the modes of material nature, beyond any attachment. And so out of even his pure love towards her, he actually allows her to match him in the purity, in his own purity, that they can meet on the same level, which is beyond the pullings of the senses, beyond the conditionings of the mind, and really from the state of a clean heart. And so he graciously removes those, that smoke or those last conditionings that she's, working through to really connect with her on this very deep level. And that brings me it brings me the topics of reciprocation, how the Lord really reciprocates, and again, the bewilderment by last. So I want to read a little more from Bhagavad Gita as well, and that will be from chapter 4. In the way they offer themselves to me, in just that way I offer my love to them reciprocally. Human beings follow my path universally, O Partha. And so that's this beautiful reminder that as we surrender, Krishna really receives us in that surrender and reciprocates with with every ounce that we give, many fold. Here is about again bewilderment by lust. And among the powerful, I am devoid of desire and passion. This is chapter 7. In beings, I am desire that does not conflict with dharma, O best of Bharatas. For that which consists of the qualities is my elusive power, Maya, so difficult to cross beyond. Only those who offer themselves to me cross over this elusive power of Maya. Maleficent persons are those who are bewildered, those who do not offer themselves to me. The lowest of humankind, those whose knowledge has been stolen by the elusive power of Maya, and those who have taken shelter of an ungodly existence. So, yes. And I have another Bhagavad Gita, which I also really enjoy. This is by Kalakanta Prabhu. It's a rap of God. And I'll read you same verses, but in his rendition of it, because I think it's actually very relishable. Seeing Krishna in everything, no truth exists beyond myself, so do not be misled. For everything is strung on me as pearls are strung on thread. I am the taste of water, and I light the moon and sun. I am the sound of Om, and all the strength in everyone. I am the fragrance in earth. I am in the fragrance in earth, the heat and raging blazes. I am the life of all that lives, the penance of the sages. I am the seed of everything. From me all things arise. I am the great man's power and the wisdom of the wise. I am the vigor of the strong, yet I have no greed or lust. The procreative act is me when righteous, pure, and just. The good, the dark, the passionate all come out of myself. These modes do not control me, unlike everybody else. Since I am inexhaustible, the modes leave me alone, but they exhaust humanity, so I remain unknown. Although the modes of nature are a load to overcome, if you just flow to me, the modes will easily succumb. And that brings me to a statement that we all want love, but the true kind that releases all that is false and allows us to offer ourselves completely without holding back. And that means releasing ourselves completely into the hands of Krishna. And I'll end with reading some excerpts from a book called The Beloved, and it's by the Kahil Gibran, which I already read from. It's really a book about deep philosophical thoughts of love. And I think that they fit so beautifully into our tradition, especially this pastime. Is there one among you who can explain my heart to my own heart, who can explain my essence to my essence itself? What is this unconditioned thought that comes as the cause of all effects, as the effect of all causes? What is this wakefulness that encompasses both death and life and molds them into a dream stranger than life and deeper than death? Tell me, O people, tell me, who among you would not wake from the sleep of life if love were to brush your spirit with its fingertips? Who among you would not cross the seas, traverse deserts, go over mountains and valleys to reach the person whom his spirit has chosen. And these to me mean that the love as the essence seeks to be expressed and reciprocated, and that fundamentally we long for the relationship with Krishna. And this is what gives meaning to everything. Like the gopis remembering Krishna in every detail of their surroundings and interactions with others, and really gaining that through separation, gaining so much in seeing Krishna everywhere, really, and seeking him everywhere. And that's also what I heard from Garuda Prabhu, which is, we have every reason to live and to live fully. So we have every reason to seek the spiritual love we are made to give and experience. And I hope that, this class somehow supported you in having more desire to chant and hear about Krishna and connect with him and his devotees. And of course, there are things that I did not touch upon from the verses which I mourn. One of it being just the beautiful humility of Uddhava, who chose not to sit on a seat, but rather chose to sit on the floor by Krishna's side as he was interacting with Srimati Trivakra. And there's always so much that can be churned out of every single verse of Srimad Bhagavatam and every pastime. And I would like to invite you to bless me with your reflections, corrections, comments, questions, anything you would like to bring. Thank you so much for your attention.
Ananda, Manjari, wonderful class. We're certainly inspired to chant more, to give more, to serve more, to hang out with the devotees more, to keep our cameras on more. Yeah. Okay, dear devotees, let's do it. Share a reflection, maybe ask a question. Corrections are not accepted for this class, not today. Okay. Damodar Priya.
I was waiting to see if somebody else would go first, but Hare Krishna and good morning, my dear sister Nanda Manjari Prabhu. I really appreciate you bringing Kalakanta Prabhu's book into the class. It's definitely a really dynamic way to kind of hear that conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. And I would love, part of me just wants you to read more of that book, but I know that that's not what the class is about. But I love that idea of that Krishna meets us where we are. And this is like a disciple of Srila Prabhupada doing that for everybody else. You know, like there's, if you go on the Amazon link for the book, which I put in the chat, you see that there's people who teach the Bhagavad Gita in college. And they say that it's really difficult sometimes to get the students to be interested in the Bhagavad Gita and hearing these things. But then when you put it into like American vernacular and you put it into a type of rhythm or music that the students are familiar with, then all of a sudden they could connect. So I feel like in you sharing this book, it's like that greater message of like Krishna will meet us where we are, you know. And you were saying that about the woman, I forget her name, sorry, from the verses. Yeah, that he was meeting her where she was. He was willing to take her love where she was, and he's willing to do that with us as well. So thank you overall. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. I'll read one for you because I marked it also, and it's honestly relevant for this class as well. It ends with a word that I will still choose to say as a way of honoring the text, but if it's triggering for anybody, please forgive me. A path for all. This is chapter 4, verse 10 to 15. Abandoning attachment, anger, and anxiety, proficient yogis of the past procured pure love for me. If one just takes some interest, I respond accordingly, for everyone in all respects is on the path to me. And still some clods will sweet talk gods with sacrifice and praise, to tip the odds and ramrod their facade of worldly ways. To help such souls, I made a fourfold sacred social system, ensuring all survive and thrive in natural conditions. This task did not affect me, for I have no hidden aim. See how I'm not attached and yet stay busy all the same. Observing how I handle things, the sages of the past performed their duties properly, so why sit on your ass? So
Yeah, very nice. It has a meter and it rhymes. Wonderful.
it's a hip hop, it's rap. I cannot rap, but I'm
And
trying.
it has some American vernacular in it.
Yep. Jamuna Jaya.
Hare Krishna. My camera's slow. Come on, but my voice is there. I just wanted to say it's such a beautiful class as always. And I feel like whenever you give class, it doesn't even matter what you say. It's just the power of association with the pure soul. We all feel it. And you could say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, and we would feel it because the love of Krishna and your purity shines through, and you bless us with that every class. And I just wanted to say that. And also, this could have been such a, like, listen to these verses. This could have been someone where someone's mind could go someplace else with this information. But because it is given by a pure soul in the proper context, backed up in Shastra, it went to the right place. It was the correct delivery system. And that comes through your pure devotional service. And thank you for blessing us with this, as always. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I read them and I was like, wow, I really need to chant on this because it can go anywhere, that's true. And Krishna says that of all the letters, he's the letter A, so we could be just sitting and saying A or which is also, he's the sound too, and really feel that meditation on these two very simple sounds. But thank you for seeing the best in me as well. I'm striving for purity. I'm definitely not there, but acharyas are very powerful, and that's also why I chose to really just repeat what I heard and read from Gita directly, because it is supported in itself, and these topics come in themselves, and again, the personalities and the pastimes are for our own also purification and benediction and benefit, and so. Yeah, any personality mentioned in Bhagavatam, whatever role they play, they're already exalted. And so that's also important to remember. I don't know who was first, whether it was Michelle or Ishvari Sundari or Adi Purusha. So
It was Michelle.
Okay. Hare Krishna, dear.
Hello, thank you for your class. I could just listen to you speak all day. Your voice is very soothing, and I really appreciate it. I wanted to say thank you, first of all, in the purport of the first verse here, where he talked about Krishna does not depend on spoken reports from messengers, and how you went into that space about that God doesn't need that, but that Krishna seeks communion with us. Like that was so beautiful to me. And I see how that can flow over the rest of my life, like chanting. And I mean, all of the practices, like I just don't think, and please forgive me if I have error in this, but to me, it seems God doesn't need those things. Because Krishna is complete, right? It's complete. Does not need anything from me, because that again goes into my ego thinking that there's something I can do that changes the Lord's love for me or anyone else, or that it's I have to perform. I'm a performative. I've struggled with being performative my entire life. And so this is just so freeing. So I appreciate your connection to the Lord's desire to be in relationship with us, and communion. I mean, just that is so beautiful, because I think I know deep down, the ultimate desire of every living being is to be in communion with God and to know we are, even though we are. I think Maya is so distracting and tells us that we're not, right? Like I feel so far away sometimes. So I just thank you for that reminder and that choosing to focus on that.
Yeah, this is such a beautiful point. I love that you brought it back. And it's true, Krishna doesn't need anything from us, and yet he also gives us the free will, and he just secretly hopes and arranges situations in which we can turn to him. And it's also for our own pleasure, as it was said it's said multiple times in Bhagavatam. I mean, essentially every pastime is about that pleasure of connecting with Krishna, and how deeply fulfilling it is. It's essentially us just coming back to our own nature through connecting back with the Lord. And I heard it said by my godbrother, actually. He said, like, like being Krishna conscious or having that connection with the Lord is like having a cup of tea at the end of the day with Krishna and just telling him how your day was. And that sense of just like, yeah, he knows everything. And at the same time, like we need to bring ourselves to him and tell everything to him. And in a way, it's also in the act of us revealing ourselves, which is so powerful. And so because it's again about our choice that like we want to do that, we want to include him in everything we do. And that is just a powerful, very powerful practice and intention to have, to just like offer everything we have, which means, everything means everything. It doesn't mean all I want or all I am proud of. It's also what I'm having that I just want to bring forth and want to include the Lord in it. And so thank you so much. And I am actually quite touched about your reflection, and I hope that it can just continue to ripple inside of you and manifest in so many different ways. Thank you.
Ishwari Sundari, where are you? Yeah, there she is.
Hare Krishna, I'm right here. It was a very simple comment. So as you were speaking, your voice has always lifted me. Way back from when I first met you. I don't know what class we were taking at the Bhakti Center, but I know we went around for a vegetarian meal, and I just sat there staring at you and saying, how could such a blessed voice come from a very petite woman? It was so sweet. And I was listening to you today, and I was thinking about that. Everything you say is just the way you say it. And then I said, I'm not going to make a comment on that because that's silly. But then Jamuna Jaya and Michelle said the same thing. And I'm like, okay, so it's okay for me to say it. It's just so beautiful the way you speak with calm and peace and conviction and love for Krishna. So that's what I wanted to say. So I'm piggying back off Jamuna Jaya and Michelle, but I really felt it. And then thank you for the reminder about Krishna's love for us, because sometimes I forget that it's not just about my love for him, it's his love for us. Because I get caught up in the rituals, in the chanting, and this and that, not being able to go to the Bhakti Center and sit still since surgery, and my guilt starts to get to me, and I'm like, I'm a terrible devotee. He doesn't love me, and that is not the way somebody should think, because he doesn't stop loving us just because we're in pain or uncomfortable or maybe not giving 100%, because that's just, I think Michelle said it better, that's just our ego. And so thank you for the reminder that even one small step towards him every day, it's still an exchange of love with Krishna. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Yeah. It's a beautiful intention again to just want to connect with him. And actually, during my initiation lecture, actually, Radhanath Swami said how gratitude means to just receive what we are given. And Krishna already gives us so much. And so actually, it's not even about reciprocation often. It's just about receiving what we are given. Like to truly receive the holy name, it means to really chant it attentively, recognizing how much it means and like what it holds. So I just wish for us to Thank you for your compliment. I'm glad I can serve with my voice. I can stay a little bit afterwards.
Jai. Yeah, let's receive the darshan. The Lord has given us darshan. Let's receive it. Adi Purusha Prabhu, you received your darshan. Now time to receive the darshan of the Lord. Okay. Jai.
Asyanti Palyanti Tiram Jaganti Ananda
Akahasham Govindam. Welcome to the afterglow, dear devotees. Please stick around. Did you see Sundarananda was offering obeisances to Ananda Manjari on camera? See, this is how everybody loves you, Ananda Manjari. Thank you. Wonderful class.
Thank you for loving me.
Okay. Any final instructions for us, Ananda Manjari? Jeffrey Eckler. Let me read something from the chat. Jeffrey Eckler put a nice verse in the chat.
Beautiful.
Bhagavad Gita 7:1. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of asamsyam samgram, understanding of the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee, like Ananda Manjari, in Krishna consciousness, one can understand the science of Krishna. In other words, the message is there, that's right, but we can only understand and benefit from it if it's heard. We're hearing it from a humble, surrendered devotee like Ananda Manjari. So Jeffrey Eckler gave us some Shastra backup, some pramana.
There is well, could you? Okay, thank you. He also wrote, "He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally." That's from Shikshastakam, verse 8. Thank you so much for bringing back this verse. Adi Purusha Prabhu, you wanted to say something?
Well, I'm praying to Srila Prabhupada, asking what he wants us to say. It's such a super sweet class. It's nothing we could add.
Yeah, he's an
Can you hear me
elevator.
okay?
No. I think you need to get out.
Usually cuts off for a moment. Just a second now. But one interesting aspect is, of course, Krishna is so wonderful. He comes to us where we are, right? You can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Krishna comes to us where we are, but he doesn't leave us there.
Yes, that's true.
Invite Krishna in, there's going to be some transformation, some purification, and upliftment, and a change of trajectory. And also, we have a choice of who we invite in, you know. But if we invite in Krishna, then something extraordinary will happen in a positive direction. In the Bhagavad Gita, so many nice quotes you gave from Bhagavad Gita today. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, for one who is attracted to material pleasure and opulence and is bewildered by such things, the resolute determination of devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So this girl, she's inviting Krishna in, but there's an acknowledgement that this lust is not wanted. You know, some people, they want it. They're stoking the fire. They're desiring it. They're pursuing it. They're endeavoring like anything to get that. But the devotees, although we might be situated in the same place, like it says in the Bible, who is a sinful person? One who delights in sin. So a devotee had a bad habit or some occasion might slip down, but they don't delight in it. They say, this is not what we want, Krishna. We want affection without lust. We want pure love for you. And we invite you in to help us to go beyond this level and come closer to you. The fact that we can appeal to the spiritual master and to remove the impediments to devotional service, to pure devotion. That's where we're at, and that's where we're going. It's where we're at, and it's what we want. So we're always free to choose like that. Anyway, just extraordinary class, extraordinary, just wonderful, sweet, sweet, sweet. Everybody loved it, and you inspired everyone to jump in and glorify Krishna. So thank you very much. Oh, glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Oh, glory to Srila Prabhupada. That's such a beautiful point to really focus on what is our goal, and in a way, just like if needed, reroute, but the goal is always the same. And to know that even wherever we are right now, like this is not where we are meant to end up. And I also just have a personal appreciation because I gave my first class, or at your kitchen, the place of your seva, and that is always a very special memory and a very special benediction and blessing and empowerment that I received that just continues to, strongly flow. So I just really appreciate that as well.
Just for a note, Krishna's Prasad distribution is going on. We're soldering through the deep winter months here. It was 21 degrees out there the other day. And we're distributing about 500 meals a day now. All these immigrants are coming into the city, and they are hungry in more ways than one. And when they first started coming, it was scary. They would look like the walking dead, like zombies. They were so depressed and angry and frustrated and lost. And they've been taking prasadam, and we're greeting them every day and welcoming them and trying to give our small effort to show them Krishna's love. And their hearts are opening. There's a blossoming. I have to get over there to help to receive the prasadam right now. Well, Gauri Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.
Jai Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Ananda Manjari. Thanks everyone for participating. Sunda Anandaji, good seeing you. Bruce Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Have a wonderful day. Come again tomorrow. Srimad Bhagavatam class is real. Things come up. We may take the wrong turn here and there, but by Srila Prabhupada's grace, we have each other. We have each other as association. So as long as we stick together, we'll be fine. Hare Krishna. Love you all. Hari Hari Bol. Ananda Manjari ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Vaishnava Sangha ki jai.